Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. This is a Sunday morning briefing all about cross stitch that is taking place at the beginning of July, and it is a certain number of videos. The FlossTube today is brought to you by the letters WTF and the sound ah. It has been a super busy week, and I think the difficulty with it this week is because we're supposed to be calming down. We're supposed to be coming down to get to the end of term. We've got 2 more weeks to the end of the term. But this week has been just bonkers. We've had, well, I've been applying for another job, still within the same school. No change really to my current role. I'm just applying for an additional role as well. A job has come up where the person who's successful would then be in charge of all of the PGCE training. So that's the training for people who want to become teachers, who come to schools to do placements and to work and to prove that they can teach and pass the course, and also to be in charge of the NQTs, who are the newly qualified teachers, who are the people that passed their PGCE either the previous year or maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they then have to do a period of kind of statutory induction for a year, again to make sure that everything's kind of going on the right path for them. And their role also involves being an external verifier for the county to make sure that other schools are doing the NQT programme as they should. So that's been taking a lot of my focus this week to try and get my application in for that, and I hopefully will be able to let you know next week how it's gone. But yeah, so there's not been as much stitching going on. So if you can't stitch, what do? You buy things to stitch with at that point in time in the future when you have time to stitch. So I have got literally mountains of stuff. It's not all stuff I've bought, but a lot of it's to do with plans and things that I want to do because I've not had that much time to do it this week. So I may have overcommitted. I will say that at the outset, I may have overcommitted. But I'm going to start off with my best purchase of the week. I'll do haul at the end, but I'm going to start off with my best purchase of the week and a bit of stitchy kindness. So my best purchase of the week has come from the Northumberland sampler house, and it is this fabulous tote bag, and it has one of Anita's fabulous samplers on it, and this one is Elizabeth Cligg. I always want to say something slightly different, but it is Elizabeth Cligg, C-L-I-G-G, and obviously what she's reproduced here in the image is the original sampler. You can buy a chart to stitch this sampler yourself, and it is fantastic. It's brightly coloured, it's beautiful, and this is one of my favourite samplers of Northumberland Sampler House. And so when I posted this, I did say that I wanted to get round to stitch it, to buy it and stitch it. And I had an email today from Anita, and she'd sent me a random act of kindness of the chart itself. So here on the front is the stitched example. So the bag has the original. The front here has the reproduction. There's words in there somewhere. The front there has the reproduction, and it's in all sorts of beautiful DMCs, really pretty DMCs. So if you've not seen this, I really suggest that you go and have a look. And if you fancy treating yourself to a new bag, and you can bet your bottom dollar I should be taking this with me to the Great British Sampler weekend, then go and grab one of these. They have got a fantastic gusset. You know, some tote bags are just like 2 pieces of fabric sewn together and they're not very wide. Well, this one has got ample space for all your projects in it, and I'm pretty sure Anita had that in mind when she had them made. So definitely go and get one of those. So I purchased the bag and she gifted me the chart, so thank you very much, Anita. Right, I'm going to show you what I've been stitching this week, and then I've got freebies, and then it's just into kind of open season. You can just see how my brain works inside. It's like a computer with lots of tabs open, I'll tell you that much. Right, what have I stitched on this week? I stitched a little bit on, is this the right bag? No. Try again. I stitched a little bit on Anne Grimshaw. And I just wanted to bring, sorry, it's like, I could never read the Times newspaper either because that required too much fettling. I just wanted to start bringing those motifs up even further. So I've literally gone round and worked my way up there. If you can hear something in the background, Ness has an Alexa in her room, and one of the things she likes to do when she's fallen asleep is to say, Alexa, play me a story or read me a story. We obviously read to her, but she just likes that sort of tone of voice, which is not too far from the truth for me because I quite often go to sleep listening to a podcast. It's not always intentional mine, but I do. So I did a little bit more on her, and this is the way I stitch. I do like to sort of plan out where things are. I'm always really envious of people who can do these beautiful page finishes, but I can't. I like to sort of move about and try and see where things are in relation to one another. So I stitched on that for a little bit, and then I stitched on another whip, and let's just pop that down there. The one I stitched on was one of the amazing ones that 1884 Stitchery now has as a PDF. You can tell my copy is somewhat trashed already, which is quite why I like PDFs, because it doesn't matter if it gets trashed. So this is the Of Female Worth ES Spot Sampler. Long been a unicorn, so very delighted to have this. And I'm stitching this on a piece of Fox and Rabbit. Now it came from their first Patreon, and I don't think I've kept the piece of paper with it. It's something cream, soured cream. No, that doesn't sound like a very nice colour, does it? Buttercream, maybe. Oh, what was it called? If I remember it, I'll put it down below. But it was from the Patreon, so chances are, unless you're in... No, it wasn't in their Patreon. Sorry, wrong thing. It's in their Fabric of the Month Club. Sorry. So chances are, unless you're in the Fabric of the Month Club, you won't have seen this, and it probably won't necessarily be available for a few months, because I think they were exclusive to the Fabric of the Month Club just for a short time. So I'll bring it back a little bit. But it's a really good neutral colour with a slight yellowness to it, and so I literally just added the tree, and then at karate I added some more of the foliage to go around the border, but that's a 36 count. So I did some more on that, which is a lovely stitch. I do like that one. I like the colours in it. And then, speaking of Fox and Rabbit and their Fabric of the Month Club, last month they sent us, or they sent me, the colour as well as the neutral. And so they sent through this fabulous colour called Blueberry. And I said to you at the time that I really couldn't wait to find the perfect chart. Sorry, I know I'm looking down, but I'm trying not to stab myself. So that was the colour. And I said I couldn't wait to find the perfect chart for it. Well, I found a perfect chart for it. This is by Owl Stitching House on Etsy. And this is called Happy Halloween number 2. Now, I've shown you charts like this before, and I think there are 3 or 4 very similar shops that do quite a similar style. I don't think they're copies of one another necessarily, but I think that they do quite similar styles. So this is from Owl Stitching House, and I just thought that that raven with all of that black, white, yellow and grey would look absolutely fabulous on this. So I've started stitching it. This is a 36 count again, so I've started stitching it in my favourite sulky because I like the coverage on 36 count, and especially on this darker fabric. So you can just see I've managed to get in the outline of the building, and I'm just starting on the raven. Now I chose to go with, that's a bit better, it was looking a bit dark. I chose to go with some of the lighter area of the fabric, just to help it stand out a little bit more, and in person it does stand out more than perhaps it's showing on there. But I think once all the black and the white and the yellow and the grey are on there, that it's going to look lovely. And so I stitched on that. And there endeth the stitching for this week, really. I've got so much to do, so much that I want to do. I didn't get anywhere near it. So the rest of this conglomeration is plans, haul, freebies, a bit of dyeing that I've done. I've done some dyeing this week. So I'm just going to take it as it comes, really. I'm just going to take it as it comes because it's a mess. It's a mess. Right, I've mentioned the Great Sampler weekend, which we are all so hepped up about already. And bless her, Nicola messaged me earlier on today. She said, have you joined the Facebook group yet? And I was like, oh no, I missed that. She'd sent me a link to join earlier this week, busy week, just missed it. She said, I didn't see your name on the list. You know, get on there and join. And so I've joined, and the good thing is that they are starting to do projects and little bits and bobs all the way through. And so the first thing they've done is released a small sampler, which they've not given us any colourways. So we can choose whatever fabric we want, whatever colourway we want. So it's called Eliza Stringer, aged 8. Now I'm going to hold it right back there because this is exclusive to those people going to the retreat. Nicola said that she would release it at some point, okay, but you're going to see people stitching it. You might see it crop up as people kind of show it in preparation for the Great British Sampler weekend. So it is a kind of alphabet, uppercase alphabet, lowercase alphabet, a small verse, and then just the girl's name. So I need to pick out some floss and some fabric for that. So I'm really excited about that. So that's a plan. That's a plan. I did some dyeing of fabric today, and I will show you what my first, in fact I dyed them pretty much the same colour. So that's the first piece. Thank you to all of you who have bought me a coffee this week, because I'm guessing because of marching orders, you want to stitch marching orders, which is, I'm just blown away. That's great, thank you so much. This copy I had to wrestle back off my mum. My mum has started to do a little bit of stitching. She's just on her first design, and she's got another one ready to go. She said this morning she's not sure if she's one of those people who finishes things off first before she starts new ones. So genetically, working backwards, it's not going to look good. She's probably going to end up with about 50 projects before she knows it. But she'd already sort of pinched my copy of this, hence why you can see she'd altered it, because my first incarnation that I printed had a mistake on the front. The one that you print out is fine. So I've dyed some fabric for this. So it's a 32 count. And it started off as an antique white, and it is now not an antique white anymore. So it is it's actually taupe over the top of antique white. So antique white has got quite a obviously creamy yellowy base to it, so it's going to change the colour that you put over with the dye. Taupe is a very grey brown, and together we've managed to make this kind of lovely warm brown, which I'm very happy about, because the other thing, or one of the other things that arrived today, is my order from Lakeside Needlecraft, and it's my whisper thread. So it's my whisper thread for the bear skin from the Household Cavalry. So I really can't wait to get stitching that one. The other thing that I did was I dyed another piece of fabric, because as I showed you last week, I want to start the 4 samplers that are in the 2011 Just Cross Stitch. It's not a Christmas edition or anything like that, it's the sort of November-December edition with the 4 Santas. I'm going to put a picture up there because I can't lay my hands on the chart at the minute. So I did the same thing. In fact, it all went in the same dye pot. So there is my fabric that I shall be using to put the Santas on. So slightly mottled. It always looks a little bit more mottled through the camera lens than it is in real life. And all of the threads are here. I did a big order from Wool Warehouse for the DMCs. Now I had a few of them already. Honestly, I don't know what happens to DMC. The amount of stitching I do and the amount of DMC that I have bought, I must have everything I need. And yet, I need this. So that's going to be the sort of colours. Obviously there's a lot of reds. The reds were the ones that I had, so there's not a lot of red in there at the minute. So they're going to go on there. And in true Michelle fashion, before I even put a stitch in, I think I know how I'm going to finish it. So this is a 28 count, the other piece is a 32 count. 4 Santas. I've been eyeing up this from Amazon for ages, and I'm not entirely sure I'm going to keep this one. It does come in 2 colourways, a sort of a brown or one that's got a bit more white. I ordered the brown originally, and I may still keep it because I may end up painting it a bit more, but it's a picture frame window, or a window picture frame, however you want to describe it. So it's got a little bit of white paintwork on it. It's designed to look a little bit distressed, not entirely panic stricken, but a little bit distressed. And I am going to put each of the Santas in the 4 windows, hence why I went for the 28 count, because it gave me the size of the Santa that fitted best in each of the windows. Like I said, this does come in more of a white as well, and I may send this one back and swap it for the white, but then by the time the Santas are stitched and they've got a bit more brown on them, I don't know. I'll hang on to it, because even if I decide to keep this one, I can always paint it a little bit to make it the right colour. I might choose a different colour altogether. You never know. You never know. So that was that. What else have I got in this pile? What else have I got in this pile? Fabulous news, fabulous news. If you follow Catherine Dempsey from Patchwork Rabbit, whose Instagram account is called A Danish Heart. You'll have seen she's started a little bit of stitching, and she is stitching Sophia Stafford. So I've given her the chart, she's got the flosses, she's got the fabric, and she is going to stitch the model. Now, Catherine has got a couple of other pieces in Patchwork Rabbit as models, and they're big houses, and as soon as I took this one out, when we were down matching colours, this was clearly her favourite. This was clearly her favourite. And she said to me a few weeks ago, she said, oh, could I stitch it? So yeah, you can definitely stitch it. So she has started. So hopefully, she said she's going to get her lightning needles out. The model for that will be forthcoming, and she can be released as a chart. The chart's all ready to go, and she's stitching it. So that is super exciting news for me. And the idea of a model stitcher just blows me away. Somebody else stitching my stuff just so that we can get it released and get it going is incredible. What else have I got to show you? Another stitch along that I'm part of that I've not started yet, but I want to show you it. The second part of the Northumberland Sampler House IA 1812 came out on the 1st. I love the 1st of the month because I normally get something emailed to me. It's amazing. And so I think we're down to about here. That is the royal we. I'm still up here. I have the threads and fabric for this chart, but I have not put a single stitch in it yet, which I really need to do. I really need to get started on this one. Sorry, I'm getting horrible glare off the big light. So there we are. That's another plan. I told you this one was going to be a little bit random. What else have I got? Some more threads. Another big bundle of some bought, more scavenged from various different boxes and things like that for the plantation sampler. That is all kitted up now. I'm just going to show you the fabric for this one again, because when I was watching back to the video it didn't look quite how I thought it should. So we'll have another go. So I dyed this piece of fabric. That's better for the plantation sampler. So that's going to look amazing on that fabric. And I've got all the threads now, and so I can't wait to start. Like I said, it's probably going to be a birthday start. I'm kind of Christmas in Julying because of the Santas, and I definitely want to get those started. And I'm kind of just trying to hold the rest of it all together. And hoping that the 15th will come nice and quickly, which is when we finish school. Got sent another stitch along, which I had already showed you, but the first part of this stitch along, oh my goodness me, oh my goodness me. So this is the Tiny Modernist, let's try that again, Tiny Modernist Halloween Crystal Ball. I'm going to show you the fabric again because there was such a difference in that other piece of fabric from last week. So there is the fabric. It does look slightly different on one side to another because I did use a sort of a spray on top to get those dots, so it is slightly darker on one side than the other. Here are the threads. So we've got a bit of black silks for you. Best way to treat silk. And I'm just going to hold these up because I went through these last week. And I've got some more of the moss, which came from Lakeside Needlecraft this week. But the first instalment, oh my goodness me, look at that border. Look at that border. Isn't that amazing? I've got a feeling in the middle is going to be a cat because there was a sneak peek on the preview, and I've always thought that there was going to be some kind of cat in the middle, but look at that crystal ball, and that border is just so unexpected but so beautiful. So beautiful. So I can't wait to get started on that. I'm kind of having a little bit of a Halloween Christmas sampler kick. And just put these in the right place. This is the rest of my moss. I don't think I needed another 3, but I got another 3. Put that in there. I've done that. We've done that. That's good. I might as well just show you the rest of my Lakeside Needlecraft haul. I bought a little pair of green scissors because I have got a little green tin and it's not complete unless there's little green scissors to go in it. So little green scissors. And I bought another pair of my very favourite scissors of all time. Now, that's the packet. They are called Extra Touch. I've got the 4.5 inch, but they come in a 4 inch as well. This is my 3rd pair of these, and it's not because I've lost them, it's because I love them so much. And it's these ones. In fact, I think I might have the 4 inch ones. These are the 4.5, it looks slightly longer. They are so tactile and you can just grab them in any way that you want to, and they are just so beautiful to work with. And they're nice and heavy, and they're my absolute favourite. So this is my 3rd pair of those. They haven't all come from Lakeside Needlecraft, you can buy them elsewhere, but it is my 3rd pair of those. Okay. Let's do freebies and then we're definitely just into haul. I saw this week that Helen D, who is the East Coast Crafter, has made her, I'll put a little picture of it. It was in, I think it was last year's Just Cross Stitched Christmas edition, or it might have been the year before's, but she's now made it a freebie. It's called You Know Dasher, and it's that one, you'll have seen the picture by now, and it's got the list of the reindeer there, and she's made it into a beautiful pillow. And she does lots of other designs that are quite similar, typographic ones. So the other one I've picked out is called Ghosts and Goblins, and I'll put another picture of that up there, because I thought it looked quite similar to the one that I was stitching on that Fox and Rabbit Blueberry, and it might make a nice little pillow to go alongside it as well, because the ghosts are quite a similar shape. So I'll put pictures of those two. I have printed them off, but they are just kind of the black and white prints, and so they are yeah, there's not much to see on the actual design there. Oh, digging in. You know when you get one of those days that just digs in, drives me mad. The other thing I did this morning, this will make you laugh, I'm trying out a new foundation and I quite liked it. And I was applying it this morning and I was like, oh, that looks quite nice. It looked quite nice and like smooth and all of that. Got to the end and I realised I still had the kind of like the plastic cover on the mirror. Took it off and it was like, ooh, that's a bit more sort of in detail than I need to see. That's a bit more HD than I need to see. But yeah, I'll give you an update next week if you're interested, but I love it so far. What else? Now I've done that little aside. These, I meant to show you these last week and I never did. These are to go with my marching orders. Some tins. Now these are tea tins. Now I saw these in the Cotswolds. I actually got them from the Edinburgh Woolen Mill. Those of you who are British born and bred will know the Edinburgh Woolen Mill is an institution for tartan, cashmere, tea tins, all that sort of stuff. So there was 3 tins in this little pack. It has got tea in it. I don't know what kind of tea. I guess it's just ordinary English tea. Oh, it's tea bags, there we go. So there was the London bus, which I loved. There was, I'm going to show you that one last because that's my favourite. This one, which is the telephone box, which has got a woman in a green dress trapped in a telephone box. There's a little boy with a dog there, and a man with a bowler hat. And then this is my favourite one, Big Ben. Big Ben. So I thought those would go lovely with my Platinum Jubilee display that I've not finished stitching or done yet. So, yeah. Can you tell my brain's had the time to work this week, but my fingers haven't, my stitchy fingers haven't. What else? I had an order from 123 Stitch come. Now, 123 Stitch is fabulous because we can buy things that we can't normally get, but it also used to be really good price as well, but now the pound is doing so terribly, it's not quite as good a price as it was. It's just about, I found it this time just about equal to UK shops. It's just they had things that I couldn't find in the UK shops. So I bought a little piece of Havana, which I did think I might have done another stitch of Susanna on, but I think it's got too much green in it for her. I think the fabric's got too much green. It might not have. I've got some very special threads to show you in a minute, actually. So I've just kept the camera. Very special threads. Another beautiful act of stitchy kindness. I will show you this in a minute. So I bought a piece of that. I bought the water lilies that make the moon on Phantom Plantation. And then I bought 2 other pieces of fabric. I bought some Cyprium. Is it Cyprium? Yeah, some 36 count Cyprium, which is Picture This Plus. And I know exactly what I want to put on this. I want to put the Night Spirit Studio hearse on this. Can you tell I'm in Halloween mode? I want to put the Night Spirit Studio hearse on that. Stitch in black sulky. That's the plan. And then I bought a piece of 36 count straw. It is straw, isn't it? Yes, by Weeks Dye Works. Because on my horizon, and these are the threads for her, the reds and the greens on my horizon to stitch is this little lady, whose name I've forgotten, Catherine McBride. I had McBride and I couldn't remember what her first name was. Oh. So there's the fabric. And I just heard one of the threads hit the floor. There's a couple of different types of green. The red, and you can't see that, the green and the red and the black. So that's on my horizon as well. I think my brain thinks there might be another pandemic, just in case. Hope not, fingers crossed. Oh, there we go. Very special threads now. I had a random act of kindness. Now, you could have absolutely knocked me down with a feather, and I know I've told you about this before, that Vicky Clayton had done a silk conversion of Susanna. And Susanna is just here. You can see the stitched one, and this is the original. And this is the chart that you can get on my Etsy store in PDF. You can get it in hard copy from Patchwork Rabbit, you can get it in hard copy from the attic, and I am just having a chat with a stitching shop in Australia about them selling hard copies as well. But Vicky Clayton did a silk conversion, and that is what is in this little packet. They arrived this week, just a few days ago. So the colours, I'm never going to be able to show you these as well as I should, so I'm actually going to planning to take a photograph of them properly tomorrow. There's those ones. Maybe if I do them in stacks of 5, that will help. These ones, and these have got some fantastic names. There's a stack of 4 actually. And then the last stack of 4. Now I've never stitched with these, and I've always been so coveting, if that's a word, of these silks. There's the last of the stacks. Maybe I can hold 2 stacks together. Don't think I can get the third one. That's not going to work. But they've got these most amazing names. I'll find out what the name of that one is in a minute. Quernstones, Imperial Green, Forlorn, Tarts Knickers. That is genius. That is Tarts Knickers. Oh My God Red, Idle Away, Yonder Blue, Nocturnal Concert. I won't read them all out, but I cannot wait to restitch her using those. So I am so grateful, A, that you converted her into your gorgeous silks, and B, that you sent me some of them. So let me just grab this one here before it makes its way elsewhere. Who are you? Oil of Amber. There we go. So yes, you can buy the conversion from Vicky Clayton if you would like. And they're back in the bag now, but that's where they go. Just a couple more things. And I realise this, like I say, this is like having 25 tabs open, but that's the way things are for me at the moment. I purchased from the Wishing Thorn the Sarah Plummer sampler because it's just incredible. Now I put a picture of this up, and I think some people thought she was one of mine. She's not. She is by the Wishing Thorn, and it's got, the picture's quite dark, but it's got this amazing flowers in the middle, all stitched in like blues, browns, creams. You've got a couple of cherubs doing cheruby things there, and then in the corners there are people. There are actual people in the corners. Now it's not that big. It's 230 by 230, so it's not that small, but it's not that big either. It fits onto sort of 4 pages of a chart. Ah, there we go. And there is a digital render next to the chart there. So it's got a lot of blues and browns in it, and I can't wait to find a fabric, or dye a fabric probably, that's going to be suitable. Can see better now. There's a male in each corner and a female in the opposite corners there. So I just think that's amazing. I think that's amazing. And then I received my Patreon from Teresa Kogut. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm in tier 4, and it's worth every penny. So there's this one, Green Coat Santa. Then we've got Right Jolly Old Elf. There we go. And we've got Santa's Big Bouquet. And we should also be having an instalment of the Stitch Along at some point as well. I don't know if we're going to get one of those every single month, or whether they'll be every other month. But there should be due another one of those sometime soon. Actually, I worked on that. I did work on that this week. I'll show you next week. I'll show you next week. I apologise. I apologise for what has just been a stream of consciousness today. But I've been a bit excited. I've got lots of plans going around in my head. it's just marvellous. This hobby is marvellous, absolutely marvellous. It never ceases to inspire and amaze me. And I hope that you found something this week that you will like too. Stay classy, Stitchers.